Okay, it says that we live. Do you see us on LinkedIn? Want to make sure that we are actually live before I start to say hello to everyone. I have LinkedIn up on my screen and I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it just yet. I just got the notification that it went live.
Okay.
Yeah, we're live now.
Okay, very good. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Journey to the Cloud February 2024 event. I am Teresa Cyrus and this month's moderator. Since this is the first since it's the first of the second month of the year, Frank and Dan, I wanted to ask, have you set your technical goals for the year? Do you set your goals? Are you thinking about certifications for the year?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
let you go first.
Say that again.
I'll let Frank go first.
okay. I'm actually going to do some stuff around Copilot. I think there's going to be some certifications come out around AI, so that'd be very interesting.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, so I mentioned to you, Teresa, that I tried one of the applied skills. The closest to my experience was a Teams app development applied skill. And I realized that I am not a developer by trade or by experience at this point. So they're examples of, just fix this line of code, or go into this without like the specifics of what's wrong with it or what needed to be done. Would require a little bit more skilling. So the nice thing is, for the applied skills, they give you kind of the learning paths to study, if you will, before you take the applied skills. So I plan to figure out at least one applied skill this year that I can get through. And as they add more, Frank, to your point, if they add something administrative focused, I'd probably have a much better chance of knowing where and what I need to do than if it's more developer app focused, Power Platform focused.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, how many certifications do you two have? I have 0. So how many do you have, Frank?
I kind of lost count, but I know on Credibly, that platform that keeps the digital certifications.
Yeah.
I think I might have 39 digital certifications.
That's impressive.
Wow. I don't think I have nearly as many as you, Frank, or Matthew. I have a lot that have expired. So I let my AWS certified cloud practitioner expire because I never really have used my AWS experience or certification. I've only let, to my knowledge, one Microsoft certification expire, and it's actually been replaced with another that they they grandfathered me into the new certification. So I'll have a renewal of that. Um, I had at one point 3 Microsoft Teams certifications, and they deprecated one, so they removed one entirely with no replacement. So I have 2 left, Microsoft Teams related. I have probably 7 Microsoft fundamentals. The one I'm missing is the Power Platform fundamentals. There might be some others that they've introduced that are fundamentals exams. And then I have a couple Azure exams too. So that's at least some of the ones I can remember off the top of my head.
Pretty impressive. I'm going to add to my list to my 0. So I'm going to be checking out the applied. So as you guys can tell, our topic is going to be around certifications and where do you go and get the documentation, and it's off of the Microsoft Learn website. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But I want to introduce you to Journey to the Cloud. So again, my name is Teresa Cyrus. I'm a Microsoft 365 trainer and a MVP since this past September. I came across Journey to the Cloud group on LinkedIn last April. They allow IT professionals and me to share my expertise. We network and inspire each other. People have shared their knowledge about Microsoft partnership, technical writing, digital transformation, and we actually had some women to come on and discuss drones. So if you're interested in showcasing your skill sets, get in touch with one of us. You don't have to be an MVP to contribute to our group. We are looking for PVMs, and it means passionate visionaries and maximizers. We are a global group. As you can see the images on the screen, Dan and I are from the United States. Frank and Matthew are from Ireland, and Solomon Jeremiah is from the UK. So we're
And I know Carrie Herger just joined us from Microsoft. So welcome, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. I just didn't see him on the screen here. And Carrie, where are you from?
Carrie's joining us on LinkedIn, so he's on the live stream, not in the StreamYard meeting. But
okay, very good.
So there we go. It should be up now.
I see it.
We see.
And I want to give a special shout out to Roxana Garcia Sopejo, who does our newsletter. She contributes her time and help us out there. So I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge her. And we meet every first Thursday, 3:00 Eastern time. So you can subscribe to our channel. Yesterday, we hit 1,900 members. This group started almost 3 years ago. Again, we also have a newsletter, Journey to the Cloud, as well, where we share, upcoming events, publish articles around speaking and Microsoft technologies as well. And I believe we have about 1,200 newsletter subscribers. So Frank and Dan, I'll let you introduce yourself and share what you would like to share about Journey to the Cloud.
Frank, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll leave you go this time, Dan.
Thanks. Well, Journey to the Cloud started as something that Matthew Brown, I think, brought to my attention. He wanted to do a online community-led event and introduced me to Frank. So I didn't know Frank, I don't think, before Matthew introduced us. Mm-hmm. And they were both kind enough to open their homes. So when you talk about PVM, Teresa, passionate, visionary, a maximizer, mm-hmm. and you tell two people that you've never met and that you just met online, maybe a month ago, that you're visiting their country, and one of them says, I'll pick you up from the airport and you can stay at my house.
Wow.
And the other says, I'm closer to Dublin. When we visit the Microsoft office, you can spend that night at my house and I'll do the driving to and from Dublin from Cork, Ireland, which is, Frank, what, an hour and a half, 2 hour drive each way?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours to Microsoft from Cork.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That to me speaks wonders in, what a community like this can do to connect us, whether it's physically, virtually, or, starting virtually, and then, that opportunity that you have to meet in person. Mm-hmm. And, that's what this community has meant for me. Teresa, same thing with you. We met online, and, that turned into a meeting in person, and we'll see each other again in a couple months.
Yeah. For me, just to connect with you guys, and I look at us like a little family. What about you, Frank?
Yeah. So when we started when we met up that time, we got going with the Journey to the Cloud. We were trying to find out what name we were going to call it at the start. I think then we weren't sure.
Yeah.
So like it kind of evolved from there really, and this is into year 3 now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our first year was kind of that informal, whenever we were all free and not necessarily on the same day, but I think we were sticking to Fridays
Mm.
or towards the end of the week, typically
Yeah.
that first year, Frank.
So it's going regularly now every Thursday, which is good. And the show I'm running every Saturday, then the Azure and AI show, then that we started up. I run that on Saturday evening every week. So anybody wants to pop along there, it's I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern.
Yes.
3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock
Yeah.
Central, right?
And it's
No, I think you changed it. It's
Is it two?
yes.
2 o'clock? Thank
2
you.
o'clock, and it's 7 p.m. GMT then where I'm located. So Ireland, UK, it's 7 p.m. Saturday evening. So yeah, so that show spun out of Journey to the Cloud. So great.
Very good. So the next slide, I'm going to start talking about, and Dan and Frank, please, as we go through these slides, feel free to jump in. But so I started thinking about, the new year, and we're setting our goals, and hopefully that everybody have some type of technical skill growth on their list. So Microsoft technology is just evolving at a fast pace. This, I call it the speedy cloud, and our skills must really stay aligned with the new technology. Dan, I was surprised that you didn't say something about reading up on some documentation for Copilot. We are all at different stages in our career, and our learning styles are different too. So like for me, give me the book. I want the book. I'm going to read it from page to page, where others may like to watch a video or even attend a virtual attend a course with an instructor. But nevertheless, we do have to keep leveling up our skill sets, and Microsoft is making much effort to help us with that journey. So I like
Sarah,
to say Microsoft Learn has it covered.
yeah. Sarah Fenna is here in Miami doing a whole day workshop on Copilot. So to your point about, Microsoft Learn and the resources we have, and then the people that we meet through this. Sarah was a guest on our show last month. She sends her apologies, but she is actually running the what she called the Copilot-a-thon, and coined that term. So she's busy right now, but I'm joining you from Miami.
Okay. How's the weather there? It's 36 here.
It is sunny, which is the big difference from where I'm at in Chicago. It's typically not sunny this time of year, and it's probably high 60s, low 70s here, Fahrenheit.
So what I'm going to do over the next couple slides, I'm going to talk about just only two. I did come across a article on Tech Community that says there's like 9 ways that you can keep your skills up, keep building on your skills. And 2 of them was the Microsoft Applied skills and the Microsoft certifications. And this was just rolled out last year. So I'm going to kind of talk about what the differences between the two. So with the applied skills, it's a great way to gain industry recognition for a particular, technical role. So with the Microsoft certification, it's on a broader scale, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But think about it in this sense. It's going to verify that you have the necessary knowledge to implement the requested assignment. Let's say that you are interested in transitioning into IT. You already are performing those skills, but for a particular project, but your company is still hesitant, you can actually showcase that you have the skills for that role, and maybe they can reconsider and reconsider. The other thing that you can take advantage of with applied skills with the assessment, Dan kind of talked about that a little bit. You can actually go through the assessment to understand what your skill gaps are. So you can now turn around and go through all the documentation and get your skills up to level. The exams for the Microsoft applied skills is free right now, so take advantage of it while it is still free.
And I also put in the chat on Frank's profile on LinkedIn the link to the Microsoft Learn rooms. So the other, besides just Learn and curated content or links to instructor-led and the certifications, the other thing I'd highlight is Carrie's work with the Microsoft Learn rooms and the Learn experts.
Yeah, they also had mentioned, which I wasn't aware of it. They also have a newsletter on LinkedIn called The Spark. So that's available to you as well. There are 19 applied skills courses. They're focusing around the data analysis, software development, and cloud computing. Microsoft is working on adding some more, so stay tuned for that. But there are at least 19 out there. I saw things like for Power Platform, Azure Data Scientist and Developer, and Dynamics 365, just to name a few. So Microsoft certifications, again, these are the experts. You're going to find certifications that's relating to fundamentals, associate, and expert levels. It has been said that when you get certified, that you can potentially see a 15% higher salary, and just expect to spend more time to preparing. I think, Dan, you were talking about that, and I can vouch for that as well. I'm on the front end of Microsoft Teams. I teach a lot of the end user stuff, and I wanted this certification for Microsoft Team Administrator Associate, I think it is, Dan. And I got all the questions right when it came to the end user side, but when it started to talk about PowerShell and start talking about, I'm familiar with some of the admin dashboards, but not all of the policies. So that lets you know right there that you really need to be performing these roles to be able to pass these tests for certifications. There's 84 certifications that is available to you. There's many different ones. I mean, for Microsoft 365, which I'm going to talk about on the next slide. There's stuff around Azure, there's Dynamics 365, PowerPoint, Power Platform. So there's a lot out there to choose from. And they're adding some as well. Not all certifications are geared towards IT developers, coders, administrators. Some certifications are catered to trainers, business users, and administrative and virtual assistants. I wanted this slide here because I do have a connection with a lot of administrative assistants and virtual assistants. You can get certified and get an associate or an expert certification for Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Outlook is coming. They do still have the 2016 and 19 out there, but in reality, you want to get your Microsoft 365 version. This is not a typo. For PowerPoint, you only need the associate. You don't need to take the exam for the expert. And I thought I'll let you know too that in the past, you were able to use these certifications towards the MCT certification, and that was deprecated in 2022. So I wanted you to be aware of that.
And Teresa, I'd also highlight that the Office or Microsoft 365 exams for the Office specialist are very similar to the applied skills, where you're given a virtual machine and you're in the actual application. And as opposed to like step by step on how you should maybe change an entire slide deck for PowerPoint or format a particular document in Word, you're given those high level tasks, and you need to bring those skills of how would I most effectively, or even the old school way, change all the slide titles or slide type and font. And if you know the quick way or the efficient way, you can do it that way. You can also do it the less efficient way on the Office exams or Microsoft 365 exams.
I have a slide to focus on that too, but while it's on my mind, I'm going to say it. But the other thing is, like you, Dan, I went through on the applied skills and try to go through one. Don't do this on your phone.
That's
It
true.
was difficult to try
True.
to drop and drag. I was like, really? Skip. So really try to do this on a computer. You might have better luck on a tablet, but do not try to do it from your handheld phone. I struggled with that yesterday.
And just one other tip there for that, Teresa, is they actually give the course, for the actual applied skill. So don't just dive in and try and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the actual course on the actual stuff first, because there will be stuff come up on it that you would not have seen before, because everything is new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So new certifications. I wanted I found a lot of this information on Tech Community. Please subscribe to that forum if you're interested and want to stay on top of what's new. But there is a new certification, Fabric Analytics Engineering DP 600. It is replacing the DP 500. And visit Tech Community again, because there is a discount that they're offering for the beta exam. There was one that they announced it, and then shortly, like within a matter of days, it was free. But I think they're charging now. But take a look at the details for this new certification. So, couple retirements. The DP 500 is going to be retiring just because it's been replaced with DP 600, and that's happening on April the 30th of this year. And on June 30th, that they're actually retiring the PL 100 Power Platform App Maker, and because it's now part of the Applied Skills. So it's going to be moved there instead. With the exams, most exams, you have to have a passing score of 700. And we were talking about some of the question formats. You're going to see best answers, active skills, a build list, that drop and drag that you don't want to do on your phone, from a computer instead. They also have case studies. So again, it's not something that you can just jump in and I'm going to just take it and get that badge or get that acknowledgement. You do have to really study and really think through, because the case studies like, okay, here's the scenario. Now, what would you do for, to answer this question? And so you have to really think it through and really know the content, not just reading through and thinking you're going to do a multiple choice test. So it's really it's a really good, because like I said, I had to walk away of trying to do that Microsoft Teams administrator because I don't know PowerShell, and I don't have any interest in it really. So that's just my example and experience. Here are some resources. Dan and Frank one of us, we will make sure that you have this information in the comments below, but take a look at it. I am going to do a quick little demo and get you there, but you guys know me by now, and I like to give you, cheer you on with your Microsoft Learn and certification journey. You got this. Go work your magic. So let me jump over. Okay. So I went to learn.microsoft.com. Notice that I already have a profile. It keeps track of my learning. I missed the first year. So be careful on what email address you want to be associated with, because I was under my previous employer and I had a lot of, points there that I could not transfer over. So really think about what email address that you want to have associated with your account. I did want to show you customizing your path. If you click on this, you could actually just walk through here and identify, where you are in your learning journey, and go through all the prompts. I won't go through it, but go through all these prompts, and it start to suggest what documentation and what information you should follow. Before I get into the some of the documentation, I just want to walk through here. Under the credentials, you'll see, all the different applications. There's Q&A. I was surprised to see that they even had some code samples here for folks to use. This is where you would find the assessment. They just recently added this because I believe, in October timeframe, I couldn't find this. So they now have it here at the top. And the other thing is, you may want to watch shows. They have a lot of virtual training that they offer. It could be a whole day or 2-day training session to walk you through. So make sure, kind of browse through here if you have not had a chance to look at this content. Let me go back to documentation. Okay. Nope, that's not where I want to go. Training. Here we go. Browse all training. So again, you just kind of scroll through here, and based on what product you want, what role, your level, and down here at the bottom, I wanted to make sure I show you that they had the learning path in the modules. This is a little different because I remember it was on a page where it actually had, you could choose applied versus certifications. And let me see if I can get there. Here we go. There we go. So you can choose which one you want, even down to the exams. And the reason why I wanted you to show you the exams, because if you click on one, it lets you know what the criteria and what to expect and what you should know. And then the documentations will walk you through each one of these as well. Anything you guys want to add? Frank or Dan?
Yeah, I'll kind of go through a small bit on Microsoft Learn there when you're finished those slides, Teresa.
Okay. Wanted to jump over to the Microsoft Learn blog post. If you go to Tech Community and you end up on their homepage, you can choose the Community Hub and do a search for Microsoft Learn, and it would take you here. This was my first time actually coming out here, and I actually read some of these articles. They are really something really nice. That's where I came across the one that says there's 9 ways to upskill. So take a look at content here as well. Yeah, 9 ways Microsoft Learn helps you with your skills. So take a look at that article. I thought it was really good. Okay, that's all I have for today.
Frank, you said you had a couple things to share.
Yeah,
I'm happy to
just,
share if we
yeah,
have time. But
just just to expand a bit there on what Teresa was saying about the Microsoft Learn. If I could share my screen. Second now. So the actual platform, the Microsoft platform is Learn platform is huge. You kind of get lost going around in it. As Teresa was showing us there, it's okay. Share my screen.
we got it.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Okay. So first of all, have a look for Microsoft Learn, and you land on the platform there, like Teresa was showing you. I'll just log. I have it here. So this is something similar what Teresa was showing you there, but we've got 4,794 results up here. So to break it down to what you want, so like I kind of focus more around the Azure stuff recently in the last year or so. So if you want to get into the Azure space, right, you just go over here, tick in the box Azure, and most people, I tell them, look, do the fundamentals first, learn to walk before you can run.
Right.
So tick the box and you see the results are coming down now to 850. So we scroll on down the page and we're looking at beginners, right? So we want to get the fundamentals. So you tick that box. And as Teresa was saying there earlier, if you wanted a course or learning path, you can tick the box down here. So we can click on the learning path and it reduces down to 58. So if we want to, a second now. So I'm just going to hit on this box up here because it's showing all the ones I have. So it brings the results down. And just 1 second now. So we kind of want to focus on infrastructure. Still showing some of the stuff. I just take that one off there now again, sorry. So if you're going to start off with the fundamentals anyway of Azure, so tick all those boxes, administrator, beginner. So I'll just take this one off again and we hit modules and see what we get. So I'm trying to get up the AZ 900. So we go courses. There we go. So like if you're going to start off, this is where you want to start off Azure fundamentals. So you just tick all the boxes and then you're end up with this one. So we'll just click into it. So at a glance is for beginners, administrator role, and just gives you the overview. So like these are, you can see I actually done this one. So there's actually 8 units in the fundamentals. And you just do all those ones.
And when you go,
Yeah.
Sorry, Teresa, we lost your audio.
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we lost you again. I can't hear you.
Make sure.
There, we got you.
Okay. So click on one of the modules because you'll see it'll tell you exactly how long it's going to take you to complete that module. You actually they is I'm hitting
There
my
we go.
space bar, my keyboard. I was getting nervous, Dan. I was thinking, it's not my hour is up yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, here it tells you how long the module is. You will have a question at the end of each one of these as well. There, some of these may redirect you to additional documentation. I find it helpful to read those documentations because they wouldn't have those linked there if they didn't want you to take a look at that documentation. So I didn't want people to think that, if they don't, should they skip it, and sometimes they send you a link to a video. I encourage you to watch it because you never know what's going to be on the exam, and at least you know that, hey, I covered it all. Sometimes, so that if it says 25 minutes, might even be longer if they have a lot of links that is included in some of the modules.
Yeah, so that's the kind of fundamentals one there. And one other good thing about the Microsoft Learn platform, all the learning you do, it actually, if you can see up on the right hand side there, gives me level 13. It actually took me probably 7 years to get up to this. So that's a lot of stuff. So I'll just click on my profile just to give people an idea. Like, this is all free. Microsoft gives you. And okay, so that number earlier, the 39, Teresa, I was saying, that was these ones. You see the trophies? So that was where I got the 39 number, but they're not certifications. I got them confused with the certifications. So the certification ones I have are here.
Frank, I have 40. I have 40 badges.
40. Yeah, but these ones here, can you see the screen here?
Yeah.
These,
those are the
actual
certifications.
certifications.
This one that Dan done here, the Azure Certified, AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. I've done that, I think, about 2 years ago. But it's totally different than Azure. And like Dan, I didn't continue any further with it. I stayed with the Azure stuff. So one of the first ones I got was this one here. It's retired now. It's implementing Azure infrastructure. I think I got that back in, let's go and click into it, back in 2017. Yeah, that's so that's expired now. So so to get the, after that one, I got the Microsoft Certified Administrator Associate. So this, to get this one, the prerequisite to get to the Azure Solutions Architect, you have to get the administrator first. And then I had to do the AZ300 and the AZ301. So the two of these will actually get you the Solutions Architect. I think it's changed now, Dan. Is it gone to the AZ500?
I believe so. There are pages that explain all those relationships as well for the like the expert. Sometimes it's one exam, sometimes it's a combination of exams.
Yeah.
And what is the cost? I know that for the Microsoft 365, the Office suites, many of those exams were right at $99 US. And for some of the Azure and Teams certifications, what do they run?
I think in US it's $165 if you don't have any discounts. Some training providers will provide vouchers, as part of taking classes. I have seen some discounts that are offered at various events or Microsoft occasionally will have discounts available as well.
For me, even taking exams, there's one location that I would have to probably drive about an hour away to take the exam, and they charge additional $25 per exam for setup fee. And so I'm trying to figure out how can I connect with another agency to take the test. So I don't, they may even still charge the $25, but just to expect that you may have to pay a setup fee. And
Teresa, I think that's
that has nothing to do with Microsoft. That's that company that on
right.
their own making their money.
I think that's specific to the office exams. I had that same experience where there was the cost to schedule it either virtually. I've done one from home, and I did all my others at a training facility. And the training facility, on top of purchasing the voucher from Microsoft or from Certiport, I think is where I took mine from online or scheduled them. I also owed the training facility that facilitated me to take the exam. I haven't seen that with the other exams. Frank, I don't know if you've ever seen that, like a charge from the facility.
Before Frank answered that, I asked the training facility, I said, can I come? And I was just going to take them all in one day, right? So, they all about an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to just knock them all out. And she said, yes, and we're going to charge you $25 for each one.
Yeah.
No discount for multiples, right?
No, like here in Ireland, it's different. We have these centres all over the country. So once you go to, is it Pearson VUE? Is that what you use in the States? So you sign up to Pearson VUE and you book your exam. And you just turn up at the center and there's no other charge.
Okay. Yeah, that's how Pearson VUE was for the non-office exams here as well. So they're $165, not discounted. So you might be able to find a discount through either training provider or some other, Microsoft offers or something. But then once you find the discounts, I was never charged to take the exams other than office. The office exams, I think, are maybe either a different legacy agreement with the training centers. And I think you could even apply to be a training center. I knew somebody that now works for Microsoft that was a certified training center for office. And I think there was a minimum number of vouchers that were required to be purchased. But then she could set like the fee for administrating the exam essentially. So that could be, $20, $25, I think is pretty typical. But I guess I think that's up to you. You could go higher or lower potentially.
I would also mention for the MVPs, I think that's part of one of the perks that you get a discount voucher. I don't think that's 100%. I think that's a discount voucher.
Yeah, that's like the MCT one. You get 70% off. Is that right?
I'm sorry. Well, you know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about the renewal process.
Yes. Yeah, that's super important. I'm showing Copilot Pro, which is the personal version of Microsoft's Copilot. So copilot.microsoft.com. And Teresa, to your point, let's feed into it. We've done one question, and we could say what are the most popular, what does it cost, how can I prepare? But we could also tell Copilot what about the certification renewal process? Let's see what it comes up with here as an interesting live demo. Sarah's been talking about this all day. So there we go. Microsoft offers a free and convenient annual certification renewal process. I have heard firsthand from one of my coworkers at Smarter Consulting that you don't want to leave this till the day of that certification renewal expiration, because midnight your time zone isn't necessarily midnight Microsoft's selected time zone. So she was, I believe, during the exam, found out that it had expired while taking the certification renewal. But these are free. They are not required for the fundamentals exams. So, for instance, Carrie mentioned in the chat that he's looking at the artificial intelligence fundamentals, I believe. That exam, once you've passed it, AI fundamentals, AI 900, is not an exam that you have to recertify or renew. However, I went through the process of renewing my MS 700, Teresa, the exam we were talking about, managing Microsoft Teams. And it was 50 questions. It was completely free. I don't believe it was timed, that I saw any kind of time restriction. And it was essentially like an open book, because I was on my computer. I could use other materials to look things up, to validate that I felt an answer was correct. And then I couldn't go back. So in a real exam, you can actually mark to go back to things that you want to review again. And the renewal process is something you can do more than once.
I know
I don't know if you had others.
For the office, exams, it is timed. You have an hour to get them done. And and I'm just also curious too. I guess I should have fact checked it, that some certifications may be good for 2 years. Some of them may require to be renewed every year. So again, just look at the documentation for the exam, and it should tell you.
Yeah, I think it's under credentials.
Are you renewing every year for some of these certifications?
I have hit the annual renewal. So
you see in the middle there, then, where just go back.
Thank you.
Again. Just go back.
Is it under credentials?
No, there. See there now. Yeah, certifications. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's my renewals.
Yeah.
So for my certified collaboration communication systems engineer associate, which is the other side of Microsoft Teams, you'll notice I have a renewal button here.
Yeah.
And that renew takes me to before May 30th. So I don't want to leave this till May 30th of 2024 or May 31st, I guess. I don't want to play around with the UTC time frame of almost 8 o'clock, but I can renew this, and it's typically 50 questions. You can take the questions and then you get another set of questions if you don't pass the renewal the first time. And then I believe it's if you try it twice, they impose, I believe it's a 24-hour period. So you're not just going through the renewal questions and I guess trying to game the system or document all the renewal questions. But I can't show you the renewal questions on our session today. I can, however, show you the Copilot Lab, which is one of the first things that I found out is on the cloud.microsoft new top level domain. So if you have a Copilot license, I don't believe this redirects, but copilot.microsoft.com/prompts will bring you to this page with several different prompts that you can use now in Copilot. So if we were thinking about certifications, Teresa, and we wanted to write a blog post or come up with an agenda for our meeting or list pros and cons of certification, or certification versus the applied skills versus the office certifications, we might be able to use one of these prompts to help us develop a Word document or develop a PowerPoint presentation.
I can share, I'm going to share with this group that at the last hour yesterday, I found out that our original speaker was not going to be available. And I was like, uh-oh. And I said, let's put Copilot to the test. So Copilot put my presentation together. So that's what you guys were looking at, was a Copilot production.
That's
Thank,
awesome.
thank you, Copilot.
Yeah, and Copilot. So I'm logged in with my personal account. I can sign out and still use copilot.microsoft.com without a account, but the Copilot Pro is what I added to my personal account today to be able to play around with the Pro features. So if I sign out here, we should be back to just Copilot with Microsoft Bing and things that feed into the learning of Copilot. We can see that we're protected from a personal and company data in this chat, but depending on what type of license or setup you have, sometimes these things are fed back in, and sometimes these things are protected in different ways from the learning models on the back end. And Sarah's spent a whole day explaining some of these things, and we've had some really rich discussions in Miami about Copilot in specifics for Copilot Pro versus Copilot and Microsoft 365. And we'll be bringing some of that learning back to our learning rooms for modern work. So Carrie was kind enough to put the link to the learning rooms, aka.ms/learning rooms.
And I did a presentation this morning on Copilot, with the end user, from an end user perspective, and shared with them that, based on Microsoft AI's survey, they had surveyed 18,000 people, and 70% said they would continue to use Copilot, and they saved about 10 hours per month. So think about that. That's 2.5 hours each week that you actually saved within a given month. And so people was kind of questioning about does the $30, is it worth the $30? Think about, you just saved a day's worth of work. Think about that person's salary, right?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
If you're thinking about it from a corporate perspective, I would totally agree, Teresa. This cost savings can really be justification for it. If you can't convince your work, so we've had a few people in Miami that haven't been able to convince their employers of it. Copilot Pro, $20 a month on a personal account to give you some of those same advantages in logging in and being able to use it in Word and PowerPoint, and it's in preview for Excel is pretty powerful stuff. So if I log in as my personal account here, tell it to stay signed in.
So while that's logging in, Dan, are you seeing that the personal and family plan, the steps in the process with Copilot is very similar to what you would do with the work and school? So it's not like, if you have both, I don't see somebody spending $50 a month between work, well, the $20 for their personal, but the flow is the same between the two plans.
Yeah, so the only thing that I noticed that was different in PowerPoint for the Microsoft 365 Copilot with my work account is that I also had create a presentation from a file as one of these prompts that shows up at the beginning. But I could say create a presentation on Microsoft certification renewal. And what this should do is tell Copilot to go out, look for information. It's using my personal identity and that $20 a month subscription that I signed up for. In this case, I already have the Microsoft 365 application licenses for personal use as well. And I'm using the version that you can share with family members. So I believe others in my family that might be using this. I'd have to look, but I'm assuming I could just add the Copilot licensing if they wanted to use this as well. But now we have some information about renewing your certification, how to renew your certification. And Sarah's really pointed out the responsible use of AI. So maybe making sure not only is this accurate, but Teresa, like you did, mentioning to people that these 5 slides were at least created or templates that I received from Copilot is an easy way to make sure that you're providing both feedback to Microsoft through the thumbs up and thumbs down. And I have done that several times as a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. Told Microsoft when they got something really right. And then you can also include screenshots if it's you didn't get it so correct. And provide information on if they can contact you as well. So as an MVP, a lot of what we do is community work, like Teresa mentioned at the beginning. But the other thing we do is a lot of insider work with the Microsoft product teams to tell them, hey, this is working really well, and this isn't working so well. One thing I like to highlight from last year that I did as an MVP was worked with a popular company in the US called Dick's Sporting Goods. And Dick's came to a Microsoft partner that I worked with, and they involved me with the feedback that Dick's as a word is not something that PowerPoint or Teams would translate correctly. It was on the profane list. So they put in the entire company's name as a proper noun into both PowerPoint as well as into Teams. And that's feedback that I was able to give to Microsoft, find the right people to talk to. And Carrie is helping me on something similar with Microsoft Teams. If you look up the information about MS700 and the Linux operating system, there is still information that I have out of my blog, which I can control and correct myself, but about the Teams application and its ability to utilize a Linux-based client. And the Linux-based client, to my knowledge and everything I've been able to find, has been deprecated for 2 years. So it was in preview when it was available, and I had a couple screenshots of running the Linux client on my computer. But I think I can open this raw. Let's see. Yep. But what has happened since then is the Linux client has actually been deprecated. So these screenshots in a browser still are valid, and I've tested that. Firefox is not a supported browser, but Chrome is. But downloading for Linux, this whole area of the website has been removed from Microsoft. So finding out as an MVP or an MCT, sometimes the right people to talk to change these things is super important. Hermine asks, did they put the name in the Office dictionary? Hermine, I think the answer for the Dick's Sporting Goods was the Teams team put me in touch with the Azure Cognitive Services team that manages for both Teams and PowerPoint, the actual translation and that basically profane index of words that are suppressed from being translated. So in Teams, it was D with a bunch of asterisks. In PowerPoint, it was the reverse, where it just wouldn't show the word. And so that's how the Teams team put me in touch with the right people to talk to about it. Great question.
One of the things when you were showing the PowerPoint in Copilot, one of the common commands or prompts, the common prompt is, go through. I think, Dan, you've tried it. I've tried it. I think I saw someone else mention it on Microsoft Teams in our MVP, that requesting to change the font throughout the presentation, when you put that prompt in, it says that it's doing it, it's generating it, and it comes back saying that it has been completed, but it does not. So a lot of people have been giving Microsoft that feedback, but I know that's a common prompt that people have been testing in PowerPoint, that it's not quite working.
Yeah, this was one of the first prompts that I tried, was change the font in my presentation to Aptos. And I did get it to do it one time, and I don't recall exactly my wording of change the font in this presentation, or change, I think I told it the headers or the title, a portion of the slides. And yeah, I can reiterate that I've had really mixed results with some things, where it may tell me, hey, I can't do that, but here's where you should go to do that. In PowerPoint for the web, you can't get to the slide masters. So if it tells me that I should go to the slide master to change my fonts, I'd have to use the full version of PowerPoint. And interestingly enough, that's one of the limitations I found with PowerPoint Online, is it doesn't seem like you have access to the slide masters directly from the web. Yeah, great points. We're at the top of the hour. Thank you, Hermine, for joining us. Carrie, OPME, Stephen, I see you in the audience as well. There's the font in the presentation has been changed to Aptos, but you would notice in the home tab, it hasn't changed my font. And that's where the thumbs down is super helpful. So I can include a screenshot, tell Microsoft that, hey, I've got this issue, and we're not able to give that feedback. Font changes not working in PowerPoint with Copilot. And then off I go and submit that feedback to Microsoft from both my personal account, as well as I've provided that from my MVP account as well.
Well, I'm glad to see that between the personal and work in school, the process is very similar. You don't have to, retrain your brain, oh, it's here, and you do something slightly different there. So that's good to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we are at the top of the hour. Just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and have a great February 2024.
Okay.
And Teresa, I guess we should also mention that this is Black History Month as well. So you mentioned at the top, our plans for certification and things for the rest of the year. I know for me, this is a month where I like to celebrate other heritage, I guess I'll say.
I notice your Public Enemy t-shirt.
My wife got me this.
If anybody doesn't know, Frank is looking like, well, what does that mean? It's actually, Dan is, if you don't know, Dan likes rap music, and he's representing today. I see Ice-T Power on his t-shirt, so he's representing the African-American culture today. So thanks, Dan.
I may or may not have had a lot of these on cassette in my life. And these are all cassettes for those of you that are old enough to remember cassette tapes, or see those in kind of vintage shops or resale shops, or wherever you might find cassettes today.
Those were the best music on the cassettes.
Yeah, that was our mobile version, right? Our mobile music back in the day. Exactly. You didn't take your records with you. That was for certain.
No.
All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Okay. Bye.